From Melania Trump's $70 million fashion empire to Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis's $270 million legacy as a timeless cultural icon, these first ladies weren't just standing beside the throne, they were building empires of their own. In this video, we're diving into the extravagant lives of the world's richest presidents' wives, and it's even more outrageous than you imagined. Let's get into it. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, the $270 million icon. In the pantheon of American glamour and tragedy, no figure looms larger than Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, whose life story reads like a novel so extraordinary that fiction could never match its drama, romance, and ultimate financial triumph. With an estimated net worth of $270 million at her death in 1994, adjusted for inflation, her wealth story represents perhaps the most fascinating transformation in First Lady history, from political wife to global icon to successful businesswoman in her own right. But Jacqueline's wealth story begins long before her marriage to the Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis. Born into a wealthy family, she brought significant social capital and cultural sophistication to her marriage with John F. Kennedy, whose family fortune was estimated at $80 million in 2022. Her early years were marked by the kind of refined education and cultural exposure that would later serve her well in the higher circles of international society. As First Lady from 1961 to 1963, Jacqueline became a global fashion icon, transforming the role of presidential spouse from ceremonial figurehead to cultural ambassador. Her restoration of the White House wasn't just about historical preservation, it was about creating a stage worthy of American power and influence, demonstrating an understanding of how image and presentation contribute to political success. The Kennedy compound in Hyannisport became more than just a family retreat during Jackie's time as First Lady. It became a symbol of American aristocracy, a place where politics and high society intersected in ways that would influence American culture for generations. Jackie's time at the Kennedy compound showcased her ability to blend formal protocol with genuine warmth, creating an atmosphere that enhanced the Kennedy political mystique. But tragedy would transform Jackie from political wife to global symbol overnight. The assassination of President Kennedy in Dallas made Jackie an international figure of sympathy and strength, her image in that blood-stained pink Chanel suit becoming one of the most iconic photographs in American history. This transformation from First Lady to widow created a public persona that would prove incredibly valuable in her subsequent business ventures. Jackie's decision to marry Aristotle Onassis in 1968 was initially controversial, but from a financial perspective, it was perhaps the most successful remarriage in American history. Her marriage to Onassis brought her $26 million from his estate upon his death in 1975, but more importantly, it introduced her to a level of international luxury that few Americans had ever experienced. The Onassis wealth wasn't just about money, it was about access to a lifestyle that included a private island, Scorpios, a luxury yacht with marble pools, and artworks by masters like Renoir. This wasn't just wealth, this was the kind of concentrated luxury that only a handful of people in the world could access, providing Jackie with experiences and perspectives that would influence her for the rest of her life. But what makes Jackie's wealth story truly remarkable is how she leveraged her cultural capital and international celebrity into a successful business career. Her work as a book editor at Viking Press and later Doubleday wasn't just about staying busy. It was about building an independent professional identity that could generate income and intellectual satisfaction beyond her inherited wealth. Jackie's fashion influence, including outfits by Oleg Cassini and Chanel, often accessorized with pearls, wasn't just about personal style. It was about creating a brand that could be monetized through various channels. Her fashion choices influenced entire industries, from clothing design to accessories, creating economic impact that extended far beyond her personal spending. The real estate portfolio that Jackie accumulated during her lifetime reflects both her sophisticated taste and shrewd investment strategy. Her properties in New York and Martha's Vineyard weren't just homes, they were carefully chosen investments in locations that would appreciate significantly over time, while providing the privacy and prestige that her lifestyle required. Jackie's iconic status was carefully cultivated through strategic public appearances and media relationships. She understood that her celebrity was an asset that required careful management to maintain its value while providing the privacy she craved for herself and her children. Hillary Clinton, the $120 million political power couple. In the rarefied air of American political dynasties, few couples have wielded influence and accumulated wealth quite like Bill and Hillary Clinton. With a combined net worth of $120 million, their financial empire represents one of the most remarkable wealth-building stories in modern political history, a tale of how public service, when combined with strategic business decisions and media savvy, can generate extraordinary prosperity. But this wasn't always the case. The Clintons were actually in debt when they left the White House in 2001, facing legal bills and financial pressures that would have crushed lesser mortals. What happened next is a masterclass in leveraging political capital, personal brand, and intellectual property to build a media and speaking empire that would make them one of America's wealthiest political families. Hillary Clinton's individual contribution to this fortune is substantial and diverse, stemming from her multifaceted career as First Lady, Senator, Secretary of State, presidential candidate, and best-selling author. Her ability to monetize her unique experiences and insights has created multiple revenue streams that continue to generate millions annually. The book deals alone represent a publishing phenomenon that few authors, political or otherwise, have ever achieved. Her memoir, Living History, commanded a $14 million million advance, setting a new standard for political memoirs and demonstrating the market's appetite for insider perspectives on power. This wasn't just about recounting events, this was about packaging decades of unprecedented access and experience into literary gold. But the speaking circuit is where Hillary's wealth-building strategy truly shines. Commanding fees between $200,000 and $225,000 per appearance, she has transformed the art of public speaking into a lucrative industry. These aren't just speeches, they're performances that blend policy expertise, personal anecdotes, and political insight in ways that captivate audiences willing to pay premium prices for exclusive access to one of the most influential women in American history. The Clintons' combined earnings from 2001 to 2015 exceeded $240 million, a figure that represents not just financial success, but a complete reimagining of what former political figures can achieve in the private sector. This wealth accumulation strategy has involved careful diversification across multiple income streams, strategic investments, and the creation of what amounts to a Clinton brand that extends far beyond politics. The couple's real estate portfolio reflects their ascent to the highest levels of American society. Hillary's purchase of a $1.6 million home in Chappaqua, New York in 2016 serves as both a retreat and a symbol of their financial success. But this property is just one piece of a larger real estate strategy that includes homes in Washington, D.C. and other prestigious locations that serve both personal and professional purposes. The fashion choices that once drew criticism, including a $12,000 Armani jacket worn during a 2016 speech, now seem almost modest compared to the overall scale of the Clinton financial empire. These wardrobe investments reflect not just personal taste, but strategic understanding of how appearance and presentation factor into maintaining relevance and command premium speaking fees. Hillary's wealth is often reported in conjunction with bills, making it challenging to isolate her individual contributions. But this joint approach to wealth building has proven remarkably effective. Their partnership represents a political and financial collaboration that has redefined what's possible for former first families in terms of post-White House prosperity. The Clinton Foundation, while primarily a charitable organization, has also served as a platform for maintaining global influence and relationships that indirectly support their other business ventures. This isn't about direct financial benefit, but about maintaining the network and profile that enables their other wealth-generating activities to command premium prices. Looking at their annual income progression reveals the dramatic transformation from public servants to wealthy private citizens. Their gross income jumped from $416,000 in 2000 to $16 million in 2001, immediately after leaving the White House, and continued to grow with peaks of $28 million in 2014. This trajectory illustrates how quickly political capital can be converted into financial capital when done strategically and systematically. Hillary's individual brand within this partnership has been carefully cultivated to maintain her own identity and earning potential. Next on the list did not just get married to a president, but became a unique backbone needed for a successful reign. Lady Bird Johnson, the $100 million media pioneer. In the annals of American business history, few stories are as compelling as that of Lady Bird Johnson, a woman whose financial acumen and media empire helped fund one of the most consequential presidencies of the 20th century. With an estimated net worth of $100 million, Lady Bird's wealth story represents a pioneering approach to media ownership and political influence that would reshape both industries for decades to come. What makes Lady Bird's story particularly remarkable is how she built her media empire during an era when women rarely held such significant business positions, let alone used them to influence national politics. Her financial success wasn't just about personal wealth accumulation. It was about creating the economic foundation that would enable Lyndon B. Johnson's rise to the presidency and his ambitious domestic agenda. Lady Bird's ownership of radio and television stations, notably KTBC in Austin, represents one of the most successful media ventures in American political history. But this wasn't just a business investment, it was a strategic platform that provided both financial returns and political influence in ways that few understood at the time. The acquisition and expansion of KTBC in Austin became the cornerstone of the Johnson family's wealth-building strategy. Her media investments were facilitated by her husband's political influence, raising questions about regulatory favoritism. But Lady Bird's business acumen in growing these properties cannot be disputed. She transformed a small radio station into a multimedia empire that would generate millions in revenue over decades. What's particularly impressive about Lady Bird's business strategy is how she understood the symbiotic relationship between media ownership and political power. Her stations didn't just generate advertising revenue, they provided a platform for shaping public opinion, supporting political allies, and building the kind of influence that money alone cannot buy. This was media ownership as political strategy, decades before such approaches became commonplace. Lady Bird lived comfortably in Texas with a focus on environmental initiatives, but her wealth enabled far more than just a luxurious lifestyle. Her financial success provided the resources necessary to support her husband's political ambitions while pursuing her own passion for environmental conservation and beautification projects. The LBJ Ranch became both a symbol of their success and a working political headquarters where major national decisions were made. Lady Bird managed the ranch and owned broadcasting businesses as part of Lyndon B. Johnson's $131 $21 million fortune, but her role extended far beyond property management to active participation in the political process. Lady Bird's approach to wealth building was remarkably forward-thinking in how she diversified across multiple media platforms and geographic markets. Her business empire wasn't dependent on any single station or market, creating a resilience that would prove valuable during the volatile political and economic periods of the 1960s and 1970s. As First Lady from 1963 to 1969, she pioneered the modern First Lady's office, hiring a professional staff. This professionalization of the First Lady's role was enabled in part by her financial independence and business experience. She understood organization, management, and strategic communication in ways that previous First Ladies, dependent on their husband's wealth, might not have. Her Beautification of America campaign, which transformed highways and urban areas across the country, was supported not just by government resources but by her personal wealth and business connections. Lady Bird founded the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center, using her financial resources to create lasting environmental legacies that continue to benefit communities today. The business model that Lady Bird created was particularly sophisticated in how it balanced federal regulations with profit maximization. Her understanding of both broadcasting regulations and political dynamics allowed her to navigate complex regulatory environments while building substantial wealth. This wasn't just about owning media properties, it was about understanding how to operate them profitably within existing political and regulatory frameworks. What sets Lady Bird apart from other wealthy First Ladies is how her business success directly enabled political success for her husband. Her media ventures provided funding for Lyndon B. Johnson's political campaigns, creating an integrated approach to wealth and power that few political families have ever achieved. The luxury lifestyle that Lady Bird's wealth enabled included not just material comforts, but the ability to influence national policy and environmental conservation efforts. Her wealth provided the platform and resources necessary to pursue ambitious projects that would benefit millions of Americans, from highway beautification to wildflower preservation. Her business acumen was particularly evident in how she managed the transition from radio to television, understanding early on that television would become the dominant medium for political communication. Her television investments positioned the Johnson family to benefit from the growth of TV advertising and political broadcasting, generating substantial returns while maintaining political influence. Next on the list has a high fashion taste that makes the headline every time. Melania Trump, the $70 million fashion empire. Melania Trump's estimated net worth of $70 million represents far more than just inherited wealth or spousal benefits. This is a fortune meticulously crafted through decades of strategic career moves, business acumen, and an understanding of luxury markets that few possess. But to truly appreciate the magnitude of her success, we need to travel back to August 27, 1996, when a young woman with nothing but determination stepped off a plane at JFK Airport.
It was August 27th, 1996, and you had this modeling contract. You have 2 suitcases, a carry-on, and a passport. That is all you brought with you to America.
And my portfolio.
And your portfolio.
That's very important.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You need to find a job.
The immigration story alone is remarkable in its simplicity and determination. Melania arrived in New York with just 2 suitcases, a carry-on, a passport, and her modeling portfolio. But what happened next reveals the work ethic that would eventually build her multi-million-dollar empire.
You didn't even go to your apartment. You immediately went to work.
Correct.
Tell us about that.
Well, when I arrived to New York City, I still remember it was Tuesday afternoon, early afternoon. I went directly from the airport to the agency. So I start right away.
This wasn't just about survival. This was about building something lasting. Melania's modeling career became the foundation for her business ventures, including her successful jewelry and timepiece line. The fashion industry, as she would later reflect, provided more than just income. It provided the resilience and thick skin necessary for public life.
I think nothing prepared me more to be First Lady in front of the world than the fashion industry. The fashion industry, it's glamorous, but it's at the same time very tough. And as everybody judges you, look at you a certain way. So it can be mean world as well. So nothing prepared me more for this world than fashion. It gives you a thick skin.
After that decisive airport-to-agency journey, Melania achieved another milestone that would reshape her life entirely. But perhaps the most significant turning point came through a chance encounter that would intertwine her destiny with one of America's most recognizable business moguls. Meeting Donald Trump at a party would prove to be the catalyst for her entry into the highest echelons of American society. But their first date reveals as much about her business acumen as it does about their romantic connection. The business empire that Melania built during this period is particularly impressive when viewed through the lens of her hands-on approach to motherhood and entrepreneurship. Her jewelry and timepiece business, launched in 2010, generated over $45 million in the past decade, with more than $7 million earned in the most recent year alone. Her real estate holdings include a $1.5 million apartment in Trump Tower, purchased in January 2016, which serves as both a residence and a symbol of her financial independence. But perhaps most remarkably, her legal acumen proved financially rewarding when she settled a lawsuit against the Daily Mail for $2.9 million, demonstrating that her business sense extends far beyond fashion and jewelry. The luxury lifestyle that Melania's wealth enables is evident in every aspect of her daily existence. From residing in Trump properties like Trump Tower and Mar-a-Lago to traveling on private jets, her life exemplifies the pinnacle of American luxury. Yet what makes her story particularly compelling is how she's maintained her own identity and business interests while navigating the complex world of political life. Her approach to wealth and success reflects a pragmatic understanding of both business and family priorities.
And did you and Donald Trump, did you ever talk about having more children? Did you want a larger family?
I was always perfectly fine with one, and Donald was encouraging to have more, and I said, like, I'm completely fine with one because it's a very busy life, and I know how busy he is, and I'm in charge of everything, so that's why it's just perfect.
Melania's wealth portfolio places her among the richest first ladies in American history, but what sets her apart is how she's actively maintained and grown her business interests, even while serving in the most scrutinized role in American politics. The next on the list has a level of wealth that translates directly into continued relevance and impact on the global stage. Michelle Obama, the $70 million media empire. In the constellation of modern American influence, few stars shine as brightly as Michelle Obama, whose journey from Chicago's South Side to global icon represents one of the most compelling wealth-building stories of our time. With a combined net worth of $70 million alongside Barack Obama, her financial success story is particularly remarkable because it demonstrates how authentic voice, strategic partnerships, and cultural impact can generate extraordinary wealth in the digital age. What makes Michelle's wealth story particularly fascinating is how it's been built on a foundation of authenticity and genuine connection with audiences worldwide. This isn't just about leveraging political celebrity, it's about creating a sustainable media empire based on storytelling, inspiration, and cultural leadership that transcends traditional political boundaries. The Obamas' combined earnings from 2005 to 2016 totaled $20.5 million, but their post-White House strategy has proven even more lucrative. This represents a masterful transition from public service to media empire, carefully orchestrated to maintain dignity and impact while generating substantial wealth. The crown jewel of Michelle's individual wealth empire is undoubtedly her memoir, Becoming, which has redefined what's possible for political autobiographies. The book sold 11.5 million copies by 2019, making it one of the best-selling memoirs in modern publishing history. But these aren't just sales figures. They represent a cultural phenomenon that transcended traditional book marketing to become a global movement of inspiration and empowerment. The Becoming success story extends far beyond book sales into a multimedia empire that includes audiobook recordings, speaking tours, and documentary films. Michelle's approach to marketing her memoir involved unprecedented personal engagement with audiences, creating intimate connections that transformed readers into devoted followers. This wasn't just about selling books. It was about building a global community around shared values and experiences. The Obamas' Netflix deal represents another cornerstone of their media empire, with their higher ground productions creating content that combines entertainment value with social impact. This partnership allows Michelle to maintain her influence on cultural conversations while generating substantial ongoing revenue through production deals and content creation. The couple's real estate portfolio reflects their ascent to the highest levels of American society while maintaining connection to their roots. Their properties include a $1.6 million Chicago home, an $8.1 million Washington, D.C. mansion, and an $11.75 million Martha's Vineyard estate with 29 oceanfront acres. This isn't just about luxury. It's about creating spaces that can accommodate both private family life and the demands of continued public engagement. The Martha's Vineyard property, in particular, represents more than just a vacation home. It's a symbol of how far the Obamas have traveled from their humble beginnings while maintaining the values that made them global icons. The 29 oceanfront acres provide not just privacy and luxury, but also a platform for hosting influential figures from politics, entertainment, and business. Michelle's approach to wealth building has been particularly sophisticated in how she's maintained her individual identity while building joint ventures with Barack. Her solo speaking engagements command premium fees, her individual endorsements carry significant weight, and her personal brand has value independent of her husband's continued popularity. This financial independence has been carefully cultivated to ensure sustainable influence and impact. The Spotify deal represents another dimension of the Obama media empire, allowing Michelle to reach audiences through podcasting and audio content creation. This diversification across multiple media platforms, books, television, streaming, audio, creates multiple revenue streams while allowing for different types of creative expression and audience engagement. What sets Michelle apart from other wealthy first ladies is how her wealth has been built almost entirely on content creation and media partnerships, rather than inheritance, business ventures, or speaking fees alone. Her success represents a new model for how political figures can build sustainable financial empires through authentic storytelling and cultural leadership. Michelle's individual contributions to their joint wealth include her legal career, her work at the University of Chicago, and her independent independent media projects. This diversified background has provided multiple foundation stones for her wealth-building strategy, ensuring that her financial success isn't dependent on any single venture or relationship. The luxury lifestyle that this wealth enables includes not just material possessions, but access to global platforms for advocacy and change-making. Michelle's wealth allows her to support causes she believes in, maintain relationships with world leaders, and continue shaping cultural conversations around issues like education, health, and social justice. This is wealth that translates directly into continued relevance and impact on the global stage. Her fashion choices, while often praised for their accessibility and relatability, also reflect the luxury that her wealth enables. Michelle's ability to mix high-end designer pieces with more affordable options has created a signature style that influences fashion trends while remaining authentic to her personal brand. The production deals through Higher Ground Productions allow Michelle to tell stories that matter to her while building a sustainable business empire. This isn't just about entertainment, it's about using wealth and influence to amplify voices and stories that might otherwise go unheard, creating a legacy that extends far beyond financial success. Then there's the First Lady, who embodied pure, concentrated luxury, and she is Barbara Bush, the $25 million matriarch. In the landscape of American political families, few figures command as much respect and affection as Barbara Bush, whose journey from young Navy wife to beloved First Lady and family matriarch represents a masterclass in transforming traditional roles into substantial wealth and enduring influence. With an estimated net worth of $25 million at the time of her death in 2018, Barbara's wealth story is particularly compelling because it demonstrates how dedication to public service and family values can generate both financial success and lasting cultural impact. What makes Barbara's wealth story unique among First Ladies is how it was built almost entirely through the traditional path of supporting her husband's career while simultaneously creating her own legacy of advocacy and public service. Barbara's wealth was tied to George H.W. Bush's political career, book deals, and speaking fees, but her individual contributions to their joint success cannot be understated. The foundation of the Bush family wealth was built over decades of public service, strategic investments, and careful financial management. George H.W. Bush's political career provided the platform, but Barbara's role in managing family affairs, maintaining political relationships, and building the Bush brand was instrumental in their financial success. Barbara's book, Barbara Bush, a Memoir, became a bestseller, demonstrating her ability to translate her life experiences into commercial success. This wasn't just about sharing memories. It was about packaging decades of unique experiences and insights into a product that resonated with millions of readers seeking inspiration and wisdom from one of America's most respected political figures. The speaking circuit became another significant source of income for Barbara, though her wealth grew significantly post-White House through speaking engagements. Her ability to command substantial fees for appearances reflected not just her celebrity status, but her genuine wisdom and warmth that made audiences feel they were learning from a beloved grandmother rather than listening to a political speech. The Bushes lived in Houston, Texas, with a summer home in Kennebunkport, Maine, and these properties became more than just residences. They became symbols of American political tradition and hospitality. The Kennebunkport compound in particular served as an informal political headquarters where major decisions were made and relationships were built that would influence American politics for generations. What sets Barbara apart from other wealthy First Ladies is how she leveraged her platform to create lasting institutional change through the Barbara Bush Foundation for Family Literacy. As First Lady from 1989 to 1993, she founded the Barbara Bush Foundation for Family Literacy, using her wealth and influence to address one of America's most persistent educational challenges. The Literacy Foundation represents more than just philanthropic giving. It's a strategic use of wealth and influence to create systemic change that continues to benefit communities long after Barbara's death. Her understanding that literacy was fundamental to economic opportunity and social mobility demonstrated a sophisticated approach to using wealth for maximum social impact. Barbara's role as both a president's wife and mother created a unique position in American political history. She was one of only 2 women to be both a president's wife and mother, along with Abigail Adams, giving her perspectives on political life that few others could match. This unique experience became valuable intellectual property that she could monetize through books, speeches, and consulting opportunities. Barbara was known for her approachable grandmotherly image, but this persona was carefully cultivated to maximize both her political effectiveness and her earning potential. Her ability to connect with ordinary Americans while maintaining relationships with world leaders created a brand that was both authentic and commercially valuable. If you enjoyed watching this video, then go ahead and click on any of the cards on your screen for more.